The hospital. Parasite Eve has a lot of screens with perspective way above you. It's nice to have one like this every now and then, where you can really see the details. That's when pre-rendered backgrounds shine, really. Look at how spotty the snow is on the sidewalk. This would just be a flat white plane if it were rendered in real time. Or the fact that you're able to see inside so clearly, through glass no less. Going in there, yeah, we get another camera angle that's pulled back a bit. I would love to see the tiny details on the Christmas tree here. I could imagine some Japanese 3D artist in 1997 quickly modeling random ornaments to fill it up. I would have loved to see what they came up with. Though I do kinda like this room as is. It almost perfectly evokes those boring hospital waiting room vibes. Imagine sitting in this chair for an hour or two waiting for a doctor to see you. This game is realistic, man. I feel that pain. Looking at these sad gray walls and floors. Ooh. And of course, there's an unlocked box with 15 bullets inside. Wouldn't be a Parasite Eve location without ammo inexplicably placed inside it. Let's go deeper into the hospital, see what interesting and weird spots it has for us to gawk at. Oh, sorry. Welcome to Video Game World Tours. Channel memberships, we got them now. Click the join button down below to become a pretzel yourself for as low as $1 a month. Support through avenues like that help me stick to doing what I love around here, rather than chasing the algorithm. Really, anything is appreciated. I would love to cover more obscure games and show you the weird spots in them. Alright, enough of that. Parasite Eve. You can take an elevator to reach any of the various floors here. I feel like in any game with pre-rendered backgrounds that has an elevator, you're gonna see a shot like this. Though I guess there's only so many ways you can show off a tiny little box. This perspective always makes them feel so cramped and uncomfortable to me. Taking the elevator down leads you to the basement. The power is cut, and this beautiful blue emergency lighting illuminates the space. I can't get enough of this. It's so cozy down here. Compared to all the other spaces we've been in so far, this is the most unnatural lighting we've seen. I mean, it's not crazy out there or anything, but it's just different. I can't remember the last time I was in a space lit up wholly with deep blue light. Got some wacky camera angles around here too. They really love their Dutch angles. It adds to the uneasiness you feel throughout the game. That's what they're good for, evoking a sense of anxiety and uncertainty. You definitely feel that here with the power being out and you following around a little ghost child. This room. I was initially confused by the perspective. For some reason, I perceived this gap in the curtains as like a solid pillar. I was befuddled for a moment before realizing you can actually go through here. It's like I talked about back in Central Park. Sometimes the camera angles of this game have me make an assumption about the world that isn't actually right. Parasite Eve really keeps me on my toes. Kinda get a Saw vibe from some of these rooms. Scary. Near the top of the building, if you walk towards the camera in this hallway, you get a nice close-up of a window that lets you see the city. It's just for flavor. I love it. Also, you can turn around and get a good look at Aya. Hi. Oh, this is a weird elevator. They really were trying every way to make an elevator look interesting. I guess it works. That's it for the hospital. Before we go to the next major location in the game, a brief spot I forgot to show off last video. Aya wakes up in this room. It's an alright looking place. Though is that really safe? Should there be a full-on barrel fire inside like that? I feel like it's not properly ventilated. Cannot be healthy to breathe in all these fumes in a small room. That's it. I just wanted to point out the barrel fire. Thankfully it's put out if you return later. Anyway, to Chinatown. The game really is testing me here. There's a ton of spots that look like buildings you could enter or alleyways you could go down, but almost none of them are actually usable. For as beautiful as pre-rendered backgrounds can be, they really do have a readability problem sometimes. Like, after all the fake doorways and alleyways leading up to this point, I wouldn't even consider going down here. But apparently it actually is a path that leads you to a building. And then in here, there's seemingly nothing to do. Ah, that's what they want you to think. There's actually a chest. Huh? Can't see it? It's obviously right there. This is an evil fixed camera game. Sometimes they have good vibes, but I feel like this game is always trying to pull one over on me. Cute room though. Inside the sewer section right after that, I noticed this peculiar ladder. Look at how wide it is. That's abnormally wide, right? I'm not just imagining things. Focusing on video game environments drives me crazy sometimes. I've been known to make mountains out of molehills, but that's why we're here. We have fun, right? Through here is what I affectionately call the slop room, mostly because of the nasty slop in the FMV. The scale is insane in here. I am so tiny. Wow, that's scary. On the other side of this room, there's a door that leads to some incredibly steep stairs. Though I can't tell if these are actually abnormally steep, or if it's just a weird perspective thing. They feel steep. I'd hate to climb these, even if it is a short set. There's a whole section of you crawling through some train tracks. Nothing really interesting to report here. Though at the end, you walk down this train track and it inexplicably leads you to a bridge. I thought we were underground, and now we're suddenly not only above ground, but way above it, up on a bridge above the river, and there's no train tracks to speak of. I guess this game does take some liberties when it comes to how much in-world space is traversed in a transitional area. Aya realizes she needs to go to the museum. You turn and leave this screen. I love this spot. I can't remember if I've talked about it before, but I adore disc-changing screens. They're so hyper-specific to this era. You didn't see these on the Super Nintendo. And while some PS2 games had multiple discs, the increase in size from CDs to DVDs meant not as many games had to rely upon this technique. The PlayStation 1 is the home of the disc-changing screen. It's so eerie. Time in the world pauses, and you, as a third-party observer, need to interject to keep things moving. There's something magical to needing to physically get up and interact with your console to continue playing. It kinda grounds you to the experience, especially in the era of digital purchases, where many people don't even have discs anymore. In the current year, I yearn for that. Back to the game itself. We return to the museum, but this time we get to fully explore it, and there's a lot to see. Good amount of paintings in here. I wonder how detailed the actual textures for these were, because this whole scene was obviously much more detailed before it was rendered out to be run on the PlayStation 1. I was gonna say you can almost make out what these are supposed to be, but that's a complete lie. I have no idea what any of these are. I don't even know why I'd try to say that. Next door is... oh man. Sometimes a game will just spoil itself. When I first walked in this room, I would have bet big money on you fighting that T-Rex later. You can just tell this is a boss arena. Occasionally, games are able to catch you by surprise with an environmental twist that you weren't expecting, but this was incredibly obvious. Can't say I blame them for it though. A fight with a giant T-Rex skeleton is a pretty good idea. Here's a little rainforest exhibit. I like the cute rabbit there. Got some more random displays after that. You know, there's little placards all over this building next to the displays. I kinda wish they each had a line or two related to the piece. I don't think I'd ever be the one to read through them all, but I'm sure someone out there would. Museum heads would love to explore this virtual space and actually get some learning in. Like, what's the story of this? Oh, I don't want to know the story of this. Scary. Legends of the Hidden Temple looking ass. Actually, you do get jumped in here by some big bugs. And then a little later, you discover the room that they fell down from. I like that. Gives the world a bit of cohesion, especially considering you can see directly down into the room. This door leads you to a fire escape on the side of the building. Though, could you really call this a fire escape? It seemingly doesn't have a ladder that reaches to the ground. That cannot be up to code. Climbing up to the top gives you this beautiful spot. I love the wintry haze that obscures the ground in the distance. It leans into that comfy winter night vibe. Right inside is a room where you can learn about the human body. Embedded into the ground is a giant display that seemingly showcases different parts of the body. Honestly, this place looks like a blast. I'd love to go here and see all this stuff, especially this skeleton scene they got set up. They got Dad reading the newspaper, Mom sitting on the couch, and I think that's a kid? I want to know the story of what they're trying to tell with this display. Then here is a bunch of microscopic stuff. Here's some DNA. Is that a cell? I bet that thing's heavy. You eventually get to explore some non-public facing rooms of the museum, like the security room. Man, look at all those monitors. What I want to point out in here is this corner. It seems like there'd be a wall directly next to the server with a little light flashing on it. But no, it stretches out a bit. Plus, it feels like there's some weird geometry that it's easy to get caught on. And there's no chest back here. I ran around spamming the interact button, and I couldn't find any. I swear I didn't notice this before. I genuinely thought this was a path that led to a room that was cut from the game or something. I can't believe there's a whole ass elevator back here. Well, what does it lead to? Apparently only the 4th floor. The other 2 are inaccessible. It's a storage room. I can't tell if that's supposed to be blood on the floor or just random grime. Can't believe I missed this my first time around. Oh my god, and I can't leave the elevator. The walkable path must be so awkward back here. I'm fighting for my life just to get Aya to come back on screen. There. Whew. That was a fun discovery. Never want to go back though. In my notes for this spot, I wrote, T-Rex is alive, but it's chill. I have no idea what that means. You can't even see the T-Rex from here. I need to take better notes. I think I was on something during this play session, because for this next screen, I wrote down, Scary Analog Horror Brontosaurus. I guess the face reminded me of something you'd see in the Mandela catalog or something. It does look kinda spooky. I love when screens allow you to see into environments that were in previous screens. It's a small thing, but it convinces you that this is an actual world, not just a JPEG that you're walking around on top of. How about that slime? Ugh. A bit further in, there's a display with some broken glass. It's neat to be able to climb around in here. But then inside that, there's a little room with some chests. I almost missed this during my playthrough. The developers are really good at hiding stuff in this game. Going up the stairs leads you to the goopy room. The squishy sounds of Aya's footsteps are nasty. I want a full-on remake of this game, solely so I can see how disgusting this room would look. I noticed a tiny error in here. That's the door you're supposed to go through. But there's also this corner that seems like it would lead you to another room. It doesn't, unfortunately. See this wall here, though? If you walk in a specific spot, Aya will appear to be on top of the wall. It kinda reveals the illusion of the game. I guess there's a layering issue, or the geometry isn't quite right, because she's definitely above the wall. Looks like she's on the ceiling. Hey, if that's the only visual inconsistency like that I can find in this game, I'd say they did a pretty good job. Things are wrapping up in the story at this point. After the big final boss, the game ends with a chase sequence. You're getting pursued by this little chaos-looking dude, and you're trying to blow up the ship you're on. But for some reason, if this guy gets close to you, he does a little flip, and you die. Game over. You need to fight the whole final boss again. That's just evil. When I first played this, I tried to interact with the phone after the fight. I don't know why. And then the guy flippered me to death. Older games really will put you through the ringer. And it's so funny that the game puts you at a crossroads immediately after the chase starts. If you go right here, you die. If you go straight here, you die. If you don't interact with the control console in this room and keep moving forward, you eventually die. I wish this guy would chill out so we can just enjoy this place. Some of the shots in here are cool. You know what? It's time for my favorite spot in the game. If you go the wrong way at the first fork in the path, you get this screen. I love the fear it instills in you. You know you messed up. You might have wondered what happens in a horror movie if the killer actually does corner the victim, and that can happen to you here. It's scary, not only because you're getting chased by a monster, but because you'll have to fight the difficult final boss again. But like I said, it's also funny. I picked the left path when I played, so I didn't have the first-hand frustration of going through this myself. I can enjoy others' suffering. You wouldn't see this in a modern game. Parasite Eve truly is a product of its time. And that's what I love about it. This game is the 90s. You feel it in every screen and every full-motion video. It's a comfy, wintry game. Next video will be the review and ranking of Parasite Eve amongst all other RPGs I've played so far. But what game will be covered after that? I guess to figure it out, we'll have to think back to when it all began. Merry Christmas, Pretizens, and thanks for watching. See you all next time.